was on the BCI task force doing narcotics investigations for 3.5 years, a bomb squad technician for almost 5 years, on our bike patrol unit for 3.5 years, served as a field training officer for 3.5 years, and was a support services officer back when we had one of those for 2 years. Sergeant Burkhartsmeyer acted as sergeant for the FTO program as well and oversaw that program. He is a recipient of a life-saving award in 2008 and 2014, and when not working, enjoys golfing, fishing, mountain biking, and snowboarding. Married with 2 kids, actually 3 kids. So with that, I will invite Lieutenant Burkhartsmeyer up to the podium to share a few words.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Commission. Just want to say thanks to everybody that's helped me along the way. Supervisors, people I've worked with, people that have had the opportunity to supervise, learned things from everybody. All the trainees that I've had, learned from everyone. So also thanks to family, putting up with working nights, weekends, holidays. Look forward to what's to come. Thanks.
So Lieutenant Burkhartsmeyer is going to be overseeing our professional standards division, and his responsibilities will be training, recruiting, our internal affairs unit, and managing our support services division. So best of luck as he transitions into that new position. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, next up, Grant Richardson, Sergeant Grant Richardson, if you would please come up. Sergeant Richardson also is an NDSU grad. You'll see a theme, which I'm okay with, being a NDSU grad as well. So, and also attended Lake Region State College. A number of accolades and duties that Sergeant Richardson has been involved in with the police department since he was hired in 2015. He's been on our social media team, our squad car graphics team. He's been an Explorer advisor, mentor, part of our Operation Lifesaver team, our Less Lethal team, our drone team. Has been a very active and busy field training officer over the last several years as we've brought additional people onto our department. Served in our bike patrol unit and is now a patrol division sergeant effective January 23. In terms of awards, he has received the Active Shooter Response Pin, the Stork Pin for delivery of a baby, a Commendable Service Award, 3 different times, Life-Saving Award on 3 different occasions, Luther Family Ford Salute to Law Enforcement recipient in February of 2020, Distinguished Service Award recipient, Letter of Recognition for our Summer Academy, and an Excellence in Leadership Award in 2022. So with that, Sergeant Richardson, if you'd like to come up and address the commission.
Thank you. I'd just like to say I'm very grateful for this opportunity that Chief has provided, and you as a commission as well. I thank all my fellow officers and my supervisors that I've had in the past, and I hope to live up to those expectations, and I'm just very excited to get started. Thank you.
So that's the little guy that was doing all the cheering for Dad. All right. behalf of a very grateful community, we're delighted whenever the family members show up to show the support for these men, and the services that they provide to our community. So, and it's always good to have all of the family there. I'd also like to commend the command staff that we have. You know, these officers are being promoted within a department that is second to none in the state of North Dakota or the upper Midwest. The command staff that we have here, led by Chief Hawkness and Deputy Chief Nielsen, is exceptional. And I'm also glad to see some retired policemen in the crowd too that's here to support these fine officers. So on behalf of a very grateful community, thank you for your service to our community and wish you the very best. Thank you.
All right, the last piece. Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Graham Richardson,
Having been duly appointed a police officer for the city of West Fargo,
having been duly appointed a police officer for the city of West Fargo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and that of North Dakota.
and that of North Dakota.
I will faithfully and impartially,
Faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
perform the duties of said office
perform the duties of said office
according to law.
according to law.
I will constantly strive
I will constantly strive
to achieve the objectives and ideals
to achieve the objectives and ideals
as stated,
as stated,
dedicating myself to my chosen profession,
dedicating myself to the chosen profession,
law enforcement.
law enforcement.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Commissioners, thanks again for the time tonight, and with that, we will conclude this portion of it and let you get on to the business of the rest of the city. And for everybody that's here for the promotion ceremony, if you join us in the police department for cake and coffee.
I want to also announce that Commissioner Mark Simmons, our Police and Fire Commissioner, is online by Zoom and was able to be a part of this evening. He's traveling, so he's out of state. So on behalf again of the community, thank you. We'll take a very short recess while the family goes to their reception. Thank you.
Thank you.
I heard him say we look kind of lonely sitting here.
Again, I'd like to remind everyone to please silence their cell phones during the city commission meeting.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
I can hear you, Mark.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize.
We have Commissioner Simmons on Zoom this evening. Commissioner Mandy George is traveling. She's in the air. She will not be able to join us this evening. Our next order of business is to approve the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Olson seconds. It's been moved and seconded to approve the order agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes of January 3rd, 2023, pages 2 through 4.
Make motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of January 3rd, 2023 as presented. They are in the packet, and they are on pages 2 through 4. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item E, building permits. There is no report, so we'll move on to the next is the consent agenda. We have items A through C, and the pages starting on page 5 and ending on page 13. They are in the packet, and they have been distributed.
Make motion to approve?
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. First order of business on the regular agenda is item number 2, which is a public hearing for Vanna Adventure Vans 5-year pilot program. Casey Sanders Berglund will be our economic development manager, will be presenting. It is on pages 14 through 18 of the packet.
You give a brief overview.
Good evening, Commissioners. I want to introduce to you a 5-year pilot for Vanna Adventure Vans expanding into the city of West Fargo. And I think at this time we have to open it up to a public hearing for any competitors.
We'll close the regular agenda and move into a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? The item is the Vanna Adventure Vans 5-year pilot program. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on the Vanna Adventure Vans 5-year pilot program? Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on item number 2, Vanna Adventure Vans 5-year pilot program? Here and seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Ms. Berglund, please continue.
Sure. A few things I'd like to highlight about this business is that it is a primary sector business that was founded in Moorhead, Minnesota. Ben Gleason is one of the founders. He's here in the audience today, so he's also available for questions. But this expansion would move into North Dakota. This would move from Minnesota to North Dakota. And essentially what Vanna Adventure Vans does is they convert specific vans into camper vans, as well as, I guess you would say, like lifestyle vans. And then they also have a mobile medical unit that they're moving into. Currently, the building that they're moving into is vacant, previously owned by Diversified Welding, that is kind of closing down an arm of their business. So essentially what I would point to is the property taxes on this, the 5-year property abatement that we'd be looking at in comparison to the sales tax or the potential sales tax from the sales of these vans, or the conversions, I guess, is what really is what we'd be looking at, is about 1 to 2 years. So he does projections at about 18 months. It's about 1 to 2 years that we would see the difference in the sales tax versus the property tax. So I'd like to just make sure I point that out. The property tax abatement each year would be about $28,000. And you can see that all of that math is laid out for you in the packet. So with that, I would just entertain any questions you might have about Vanna Adventure Vans for myself or founder Ben Gleason.
Commissioners, any questions?
Mayor?
Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you. Casey, I'm looking at this and I just for to grasp this. So they're asking for basically $28,000 a year. How much do we make off in sales tax per conversion?
Per conversion is, so let's see here. Per conversion, I guess I don't have it broken down per conversion, I'm sorry about that, but in comparison, so for 5 years total, for the property tax abatement is about $140,553. So in year one, they're estimating 86 units to be converted in approximately $240 dollars in sales tax. Currently, now that's a projection, I'm sorry, and that's in 18 months, not year one, so 18-month projection. But currently, as of the EDAC meeting that we had, they have 36 already committed projects of their projected 86 for the year. So does that answer your question, Commissioner Simmons?
Yeah, I guess I can't see it on your chart, but it looks to me like we're gonna be making more in sales tax than we're giving them in relief anyway, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal in my eyes. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And due to the nature of the product and when they're presenting the completed product to their customer, the delivery takes place in West Fargo, so that the tax is collected in West Fargo. So I personally had a tour of the facility while they were manufacturing. It was a great experience to see the work that these folks do while they're converting these vans and take the chassis and completely redo them inside. And they obviously produce a quality product.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Gleason, but I'm sure that he would entertain anyone to come for a tour anytime, so.
Any other questions, commissioners?
I don't have any questions. I just sat in on the Economic Development Advisory Committee's meeting with the Vanna Adventure Vans, and it's a great fit to what we need here. And if they can produce their medical type of van to help the rural communities, wow, we're gonna be on the map.
I would
because of
agree.
that.
Any other questions from Ms. Berglund? Commissioners?
Motion to approve the 5-year pilot, Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Commissioner Olson, second. Been moved and seconded to approve the Vanna Adventure Vans 5-year pilot program as presented this evening by Casey Sanders Berglund on pages 14 through 18 of the packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3 is a Noble Hair Enterprise Grant, again presented by Ms. Sanders Berglund, our Economic Development Manager, to approve of an enterprise grant of $75,000. It is in the packet. It's on pages 19 through 25. Again, welcome back.
Thank you, Commissioners. I had the opportunity to speak with the owner of Noble Hair, which is seeking to come to the Firm building located in the heart of our DMU downtown mixed-use district. I'm sure you're all very familiar with the vacant first floor. Essentially, this business is looking to really separate themselves from the word, I guess, bar or restaurant. They're really looking to be a destination that is not common to our community. Their aim and goal is to be a place to hold conversations, have a meeting, your non-traditional, I would say, West Fargo date night, if you will, but where you can have more of an experience than, say, a specific drink. So noting that this business, Noble Hair, is more of an upscale whiskey location, they're going to also aim to have a whiskey locker room, as well as some education around wine and different types of whiskey that I will not even venture to try and answer any of those questions, which is why Isaac and his wife and business partner are here tonight. So with that, I would say, of course, the downtown mixed-use area, this grant was made specifically for that area. This fit up will cost a little over $450,000. Meeting that threshold of $150,000, we're looking at the maximum for this grant at $75,000. At the Economic Development Advisory Committee, we had a lengthy conversation about multiple things, highlighting, one thing we definitely talked about is absolutely the excitement of activating a vacant space that was intentionally made for a restaurant in that area, that obviously other plans fell through COVID. And so wanting to see something be activated there. The hours of this location being Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m., Sundays from 4 to 11, and looking at what those peak hours would be. And then, of course, we did discuss conversations around what parking and what that would look like, and the kind of offsetting what parking would look like given the VFW and Pioneer Place parking in front of all of the angled parking in front of all of their storefronts. So with that, I would open it up to questions about the Noble Hair.
Questions? Commissioner Anderson?
Yeah, I don't know if that I have any questions currently, but I like the concept of this. I do have some concerns, and it's more kind of around the development of the area a little bit. So, parking we know is an issue. I live in that neighborhood, so people will be parking along Morrison Street, along 4th Avenue, which will create safety issues for my young kids and the other young families in the neighborhood when people are coming to and from this business. I also feel like we're starting to kind of lose sight of what we want to do on Cheyenne Street. And I say this with having witnessed many conversations and being a part of some, that we want to differentiate our downtown from others in the area. And at a high level, to me, this one looks like it's the same as any others. If we're going to have a bunch of bars down there, I know we're trying to differentiate from what it is, but I feel like we need something else. So that's where I'm at with this. I have other concerns in terms of the number of establishments, liquor establishments within a small amount of space that are immediately adjacent to residential neighborhoods. We see in other downtown areas, there is a buffer also. So I'm concerned just with where things are going. And I need to bring this up now because now's the time so we can at least have discussions about it. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Commissioners, any additional questions?
I do, Mayor.
Please, Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you. Casey, I'm trying to find out, what are they concluding that their customer count is going to be?
Approximately 140.
140 citizens a day?
That's capacity.
That's capacity.
That's capacity.
What are they expecting, though, for their customer count?
Commissioner Simmons? We have
Yes.
we have the gentleman that's doing this business coming to the microphone.
Yeah,
Please.
Okay,
this is Isaac.
thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Isaac Olson. I'm going to be the owner of the Noble Hair, and thank you, commissioners, for listening to me. Okay, it would be on the I have it in an email.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any other questions I want to grab that?
Yeah, he's gonna pick up, look through for a specific email for those counts. Is there any other questions while he's looking for that information?
Well, for Commissioner Simmons' benefit, I sat through the presentation of the request through the EDAC committee, and the majority of these customers are going to be, if I can be so bold to take the lead here on what you said, is they're going to come in for one or two, and then they're going to move on because it's more of an experience, not going to be your typical sports bar with lots of TVs and gatherings. You're going to go in there for, like Casey said, an experience. Go in there for one. There's not going to be basically any, meals per se. There might be some appetizers, stuff like that, but there's not gonna be anything, you know, where you're gonna sit down and take up hours of time unless you really get into a lengthy conversation, you know, you never know.
Correct. So one thing we talked about at that meeting was the, I say it's the lost art of conversation. And me and my wife we believe that there's more than enough sports bars in this town, and we don't really need any more of those. We want a place where you can go down and have a glass of wine or craft cocktail or a glass of bourbon and have a conversation with your spouse. I have 3 kids too, so I completely understand the concern for safety when you get, a place that's packed with bars. But we're not trying to create a place where a whole bunch of rambunctious 22-year-olds are coming. We're trying to create a place where people can forget to use these and refine the art of conversation is what we're trying to focus on. And in our experiences traveling around the country, it's in every community that we've traveled, in Kentucky, California, Arizona, any place that's as big as Fargo and West Fargo is, they have these, and it's just we don't have those opportunities here, and so we thought that it would be a good thing to bring to our community. As far as the patrons per day, I guess it just sort of depend on what month. So if you're going to say like on a Friday for the entire day, 276 in the month of November is the rough estimate. If you were to say Monday or Tuesday, be 183 with a max of projection of 25, which is, less than 20% on the total capacity. So we're not projecting huge crowds of people and parties. We'll have events, but it's going to be something to cater to, the law firm that's there, and date night with your wife, not, the stretch limo with 21-year-olds. That's
Not a Super Bowl party.
correct. Yep.
Let me interrupt you, please, if I could.
Yep.
I'm not concerned with the safety issue. We have damn good police to cover that problem. My concern is, again, I'm going back to the parking. What I want to know from you is, you have a business model, I'm assuming. What is your average daily count? What are you predicting it to be?
So our average daily count is about 204. And then we're assuming that that's going to be divided in half by people coming with somebody else. This is not going to be a type of establishment where people are going to come usually just by themselves. They're going to plan to arrive with other people. So not assuming that we'll need 204 parking spaces on average, that throughout the entire day that we'll need 100 and then spaced out over that 13-hour period.
Have you worked with the developer to find any extra parking? Or are you just planning on using the street parking?
We are working with Epic, and I know that they are very interested in adding parking, but in going through this process, I have found that there's a lot that comes into if they wanted a parking garage or another parking lot. I know they are, trying to secure more parking currently, but nothing has been finalized yet. So, and I believe that any successful business, anything that's going to drive business to downtown, will have the same issue. Whether it's a place where you go knit sweaters or my place. Like there's good, if it is a successful business and it's going to improve downtown, the parking will be an issue for anybody. My job is to create an experience where if they have to park a block up or a block down and make that walk, that'd be considered what you do in every other city across America. It's just we have the convenience here of being able to spread out where we can have parking lots. So we're not going with a new place where there's an empty space. We're just going to build a building and then create a parking lot. We're trying to revitalize an existing area. So my job is to create an experience that is good enough where people are okay with walking 2 blocks.
And I wholeheartedly agree, because when I've traveled for business, it's nothing to walk 4, 5, 6 blocks after you've taken a bus to get somewhere maybe, or even the metro, or even the subway to get there. we've become so reliant on, if I can't have that front parking spot, then I'm not gonna go there. We as a culture here in Fargo, West Fargo, Moorhead, all have to break that mold of doing that. And we get a fabulous business like this in here, build it and they will come.
Right, and that was sort of our thought, and I think I said it in the meeting that, and I'm talking city blocks too, not like Fargo blocks or West Fargo blocks. It's, you walk a distance, you park in a parking garage in Chicago or Nashville, and you walk, you put your coat on and you walk, and you get to the establishment you want because they've got what you want to go do, and I feel like we need more of that in West Fargo, wherever you want to, that's why we came up with this idea. There was nothing ever open on Sundays, and there was no place that wasn't a sports bar that wasn't loud and crazy where, and I'd be explaining to somebody at a bar and they'd say, what? And they would just, and I said, see, that's my point. Is, it'll still be a bar, it's not a library, but yes, that is to that point, yes.
So Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner?
again, just so you all know, my concern isn't about your business. I think it's a great idea. I really like it a lot. But I am concerned about the parking, and that isn't going to go away until we find a solution. And we're, again, this whole study, we're out a year and a half. I'm done with it. So I'm not going to, until we get the parking and get our staff and our people and everybody on board to work hard and get our parking. I'm sorry, but I think in the best interest of this position, because I can see how the vote's going to go, I could try to predict it, but I think that we should, to give this gentleman and his business, I want him here. I really do, but I think we should table this so some of us can have a little further discussions on committee to some parking. Because I hate to vote it down to 2-2 and then they go away. Is that correct?
That is correct. A 2-2 is a failed vote according to Robert's Rules of Order. On Sturgis Rules of Order, a 2-2 vote, however the mayor votes is the deciding then. But we have accepted Robert's Rules of Order, so a 2-2 vote is a tie vote, is a failed vote.
Sure. If you don't mind, Commissioner Simmons, to just kind of speak to the parking comment as well. And I have had, over the last five or 6 days since our last Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting, I have specifically taken it upon myself to drive Cheyenne Street at what I would consider the most peak time of the day, which would be anytime between 5 and 5:45. So I'd be happy to share my Excel spreadsheet of the amount of open, angled-only street parking available in that time frame on every day of the week. And I can tell you the lowest number that I've gotten was 11, and the highest number was 37. So I can tell you that is only a snapshot in time, right, in the last 7 days. And I can tell you on Monday nights and Thursday nights are the two VFW event nights, and those are the two busiest nights. And I do have a meeting scheduled with their unit commander later this week on Wednesday evening, not only to talk about parking, but several other discussion points with them, but specifically to talk about parking. In addition, I have spoken with Zach and Amy at Epic about not only this project, but a couple others. And they are also working on some leasing agreements as well to support filling some of these Epic-owned buildings. So I think we all understand that parking is a concern, but I just wanted to make sure that I brought up that information. I know Isaac as well has done his own, he's not gonna go into business and spend this kind of money until the last 9 months, you would say.
Correct.
He has also been doing some drive-throughs of the area, and he can share his information as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this started in April of last year for me, and I drive down that street at least once a day, anywhere from noon to midnight, because my wife works in Fargo, and sometimes if I stop by, it's later in the evening. So, and I've driven down there on every day of the week, and then I line it up to what my projections were. And there has not been maybe more than 2 or 3 times in 9 months that there wasn't parking, ever. And I know it's limited parking, but the reason it's not filling up is because at night, Thunder Coffee is closed. The cookie shop is closed. The stuff on the north side of this, up north, further north on the street is closed. Half the nights, most of the parking in front of the VFW is open. So we were looking at a spot by the lights, and they have a parking ramp there. And after months and months of driving up and down the street, putting I have a wife and 3 kids, putting everything we have on the line and risking not having parking was not really a thing, and we still chose the firm because in 9 months there hasn't been an issue with parking. We would like to create an issue with parking because the event is so great, I'm gonna be completely honest. But that should be, if we're trying to have a successful downtown as a citizen, I would think that is what we'd want to try to do. So that way, if we need to create a parking ramp or something, now we've got the reason why we wanna do it.
When do you plan on opening?
About 3.5 months from hopefully the beginning of February. We are underwriting with the bank currently.
So I don't believe that 2 more weeks is gonna hurt your project, do you?
It just depends on if the bank needs to see everything there, and then if Epic is willing to wait. Because they have had 3 or 4 other people interested in the space. And the parking that they are working on now, I didn't know if I was allowed to say, and since she already said it, they are working on adding parking.
I don't think we're gonna solve a parking issue in 2 weeks.
No, but I'm gonna feel more comfortable.
What kind of information are you looking for, Commissioner?
I'm looking for a little bit more commitment from all of us, where, to nail down some of these parking issues. Again, it upsets me that we passed something that's gonna wait another year to come up with parking. And here we sit with a good business that wants to come, but I'm afraid that parking is gonna be taken, and then we're gonna get just more complaints from downtown. We get them now, Commissioner Olson. So I can only imagine it's gonna get worse. And I don't think I'm being too tough to hold off for 2 weeks just so I can have a couple meetings with some of the stakeholders here.
Any additional questions? Commissioner?
I move we approve.
Is there a second? I second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to approve the enterprise grant at Noble Hair on Cheyenne Street. Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
No,
We have a 2-2 tie. The motion fails. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is consideration of a water rate adjustment for 2023. The discussion and approval of the City of Fargo contractual rate for water. Mrs. Tina Fisk, City Administrator, City of West Fargo.
Good evening, Commission President and Commissioners. In the packet, you have the letter from the City of Fargo explaining our water rate. Also included in there is a graph that shows how they computed the rate. That is all part of their revenue adequacy model, where they started with the true cost to produce water, and then they back out the items that don't go to a wholesale rate. And so this is a rate that we will pay, Casserole Water will pay as a wholesale user. The proposed rate for West Fargo is based on their 2021 actual expenses because they don't have 2022 finalized yet. The proposed rate increase for 2023 averages to be about 2% per year since the contract started in 2016. Inflation's been much higher than that, but that's about how this works. Originally, our original contract was 4 years, and we were to negotiate the rate after the first 3, but Fargo decided that they could wait until 7, so we've had this rate for 7 years. Some of the reasons for the cost increase: inflation, electricity, chemicals, landfill costs for sludge removal. It's a very efficient treatment plant, but as you know, the Red River's not the best water, and the Cheyenne River isn't a whole lot better. So it's very expensive to get the hardness out and to meet all the water quality and water rules and all those things. With that being said, the contract on page 3 of 9, number 6, describes that we discuss and meet on a rate, which staff did, and our recommendation is to accept their proposal, and we request that we adjust city water rates an equal amount of 40 cents per thousand. And we also have representatives from the City of Fargo Treatment Facility, Troy Hall, and another individual are here if you have questions for them.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisk. Questions, Commissioners? Commissioner Anderson?
So it also says that there might be potential increases coming, I'm assuming, right, that would be brought forward at a later date. I'm wondering, why would we want to have potentially 2 increases that we're hitting the residents with? I don't feel that's fair. I think we should just be going with an increase if we need an increase once.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. That's a good question. The reason for doing this is that we know that this is going to be our cost, and when we get our bill at the end of January, we will have the extra 40 cents per 1,000 gallons on there, which is part of our contract, and that is fair. The reason we're not waiting to study the whole water model is because, truthfully, we have tens of millions of dollars of projects out there that we need to find financing for that are water related or sewer related. Those items, at this time, we have not been able to get all of our staff together to be able to analyze the best way to request funding from you. We could bond it all and then try and cover that with rates, or we could do a combination of other things, and we want to be very careful with how we adjust rates. Since this is a known amount, we felt better starting with the known amount and then come back later when we have facts. We have no facts right now, so if I was to say 50 cents, and you said, where did you come up with that? I'd be like, 40 cents for increase from Fargo and 10 cents pulled out of the air. And I don't think that's fair either to the public, and I know this seems difficult, but we can wait. But for every 1,000 gallons that we buy from Fargo, we're losing 40 cents in an enterprise fund that needs to make money and has millions of dollars of projects to cover.
Commissioner Anderson?
How long will you anticipate an analysis to take then to get all this information pulled together so we could do this? Would it extend into next year, or would we be looking at 2 potential increases this year, or is it something that we can wait 30 days and get that information, and then we can get it all done in 30 days and we know what we're going with? Excuse me, thank you, Commissioner Anderson.
The decision on when another rate adjustment would start is totally on the City Commission. We can come back, we probably wouldn't come back until end of spring at best with an analysis, and the reason is because we have a very complex system going on right now, and the Finance Department is trying to redo a large number of things, and they just can't, they don't have enough staff right now to be able to handle getting caught up to speed so that we can get the most accurate numbers. So that like I say, that would be totally up to you. You could do 40 cents now, and then when we bring it back to you, you could say we're waiting till January, waiting till whatever for any additional change. Or you could hold on this, and then we would just have to try and figure out a way we would know what we do. We'd find a way to pay the cost, the extra money, but we wouldn't be collecting it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Additional questions?
If we would delay, do you have an idea how many millions of gallons we use on a daily basis just for, just a shot in the dark type?
I can't remember, I know we have, can you tell me?
Trying to figure out how many dollars we would have to, if we had to find another way.
I should have looked and I didn't.
About monthly?
No, max is 30 million, but I don't know.
Or monthly?
Yeah, it's about, I believe it's about 2.8 million on a daily.
On a daily basis?
Daily base, or 2.8 million on a daily basis on average.
Okay.
2.8 million on a daily on an average. So round that up to 3 million, at 40 cents, round that up to 50 cents. There's some quick math for you.
I can't do it that quick.
That'd be about 1.5 million, is that right?
That's correct.
$45,000 a day.
40,
Wow.
That seems high, Dustin.
That seems high.
that's not correct.
The other way,
4,500 sounds
1.5
better.
million.
Yeah, 4,500.
$500 a day.
Yep. You slipped a digit.
So that's a substantial amount of money.
It is.
Times 30, it's $100,000 a
6,000
month. 120,000.
a month.
Yeah.
Okay, 36,000 or more a month.
So.
I don't know how.
I struggle with voting for a water increase twice in 1 year myself. I agree with Commissioner Anderson and his assessment. But at those type of dollars that we would be losing per month, I'd have to change my mind. We can't lose that type of money a month. Commissioner Anderson?
Yeah, I would just want to be very careful that I would almost say that I'd want to not come back with another increase later this year, but I'm someone that likes to see the data, and that's why I'm asking these questions. So my mind might change, but I want to make sure that we're not hitting our citizens multiple times and nickel and diming them, because that's what a lot of them feel like the city does. So I think we need to be careful. We know what this number is, and it is a high number. So
When the packet came out, I asked that very same question about, more than once a year and doing our analysis. It's unfortunate that we don't have access to that data.
Commission President, to answer some of the concerns, I totally agree with coming twice, but what we would do when we get this all analyzed is come to you with what we feel it should be, and then you would set the time and date and the amount. Just because we recommend, let's say, 25 cents or 5 cents, doesn't mean that that's, we'll bring you the information, we'll bring you the dollars, and then those are your decisions to make.
Mayor,
Commissioner Simmons, please.
thank you. From past history, I can tell you that we are in a no-win situation because we have not raised rates on some of our stuff for a while. And then we had to jump up, high, and we got it nailed for that too. So either way, we're not going to win. I think I would say that we go with this rate that Tina's recommending now and then see what happens down the road.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Any additional comments? Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I would make a motion to approve the rate increase.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Olson seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve the rate request as provided by Mrs. Fisk, our city administrator, to $3.65, a 40-cent increase per thousand. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries on a 3-1 vote.
I believe, Commission President and Commissioners, I will have to bring a resolution, correct, John, to the next meeting to adjust that rate. So the resolution will be on the agenda.
Thank you. Item number 5 is an improvement district of 2271, 7th Avenue Northwest and 5th Street Court Northwest. Mr. Dan Hanson, City of Engineer, is going to give us a project update. It's on pages 42 to 43 on the packet.
Thank you, Commissioner President Dardis and Commissioners. As you mentioned, we're here to talk about the 7th Avenue Northwest and 5th Street Court Northwest project. If you recall, the last time that we were in front of the commission, we had the engineer's report. We had the public hearing for the resolution that we had passed of necessity, and there was some people from the public, property owners, that came to spoke, some in favor of the project, some against the project, but in the end, there was direction for staff to go back and see if there was any value engineering that we could do to make the project not as expensive as was proposed. We have done some analysis, and one of the gentlemen that spoke asked if we could just reuse the existing surface and pave on top of that. In general, that's not an idea that we're able to do. However, the way that the roadway was constructed originally lends itself to that. So we did engage Braun Intertech as a geotechnical engineer to take a look at that idea, given what the section was that was installed, and I can get as detailed as you'd like on that. But overall, we should be able, their recommendation was that we should be able to just remove the top 5 inches of surface that exists and put the concrete on top of that. So we would have generally found that out during design, but since we had that up as a discussion and we were directed to take a look at that, we did take a look at it, and we did find that we are able to do that. That brings us to another idea that we had. Since we're able to use the existing roadway, we can use that existing gravel surface that has both gravel and crushed concrete in it. Now, the existing roadway is not as wide as what our standard is in ordinance for these roads. Our ordinance states that the roadway needs to be 41 feet back of curb to back of curb for a dimension. The road right now is functioning fine at the width that it is. I don't want to go, I would not recommend that we just install the road at the current width. I think it does need to be wider. A minimum of 31 feet back to back would be what I would recommend if we wanted to slim the size of the, 35 feet back to back. Apologize. So we could slim that road up 6 feet from what is required by ordinance to do that. And this is kind of a special case because we are reusing the existing roadway surface for that work. If we were to expand it and install our standard 41-foot back-to-back, there's a lot of area outside the current footprint of that roadway that would be of differential settlement and things, so there would be some more subgrade work to do. We could save a lot of money by keeping the roadway a little bit smaller than that. And then also that would also allow us to better use the existing storm sewer that's in there where there was inlets planned. So I'm not asking for any motions or anything like that tonight. However, I would like to, the engineer is preparing the plans and specifications. I don't want them to direct them to design a roadway that doesn't meet our ordinance without at least having a level of comfort that when we come back with the final design, that would be an acceptable road width for that. That would be my recommendation for that. So more just polling the commission if what I'm saying makes sense to you for that. And then if so, I could direct the engineer to continue on that path and come back eventually here in the next couple meetings with the final plans and specs ready to be out for bid. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Questions? I think the research that you've done is very good work, and we appreciate that very much. Commissioner Olson?
The third bullet would, on the cul-de-sac. I don't know if you covered that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. We were gonna bid the cul-de-sac out as an alternate, that way after the bids come in, and thank you for pointing that out. I apologize for not covering this. And the there's an exhibit that is, you can see up on the screen also, where the existing gravel cul-de-sac that's out there is actually larger than we would need this to be to meet turning movements that's, needs to be required. So what we would do is we would design that cul-de-sac to be paved, but we would be able to slim the bulb of the cul-de-sac up so as to not be as big, for one thing. And the other thing is, again, the goal would be to reuse that existing base for that as well, so. Thank you.
As Mr. Hanson asked, he's kind of polling the commission. Commissioner Anderson? Commissioner
I'm
Olson?
good.
Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Okay, you're good to go.
Thank you. We'll move forward with that, and then ultimately the approval will come in when we approve plans and specs and authorize the.
I'm a yes also. Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 6 is a concrete pavement repair across the city. It's create a project number 2272 and approve an engineer's report and direct the engineer to prepare plans and specifications. It's on pages 44 through 50. Before we get into that, Mrs. Fisk has left the meeting. There's an excused absence. She has some traveling to do. So just as a reference to everyone, please continue, Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Commissioner, President Dardis, and Commissioners. Project number 2272 is a continuation of the ongoing repairs that we do to our concrete roadways throughout the city. Basically, engineering department works with Public Works to identify panels that have cracked and areas that are failing, so that way we can move forward with a patching project, if you will. A couple other things have been added to this. There's a roundabout that is going to get a little bit of work done to it as well. We're also taking a look at some, if you recall, the traffic calming potential that we were, project that we were going to do, that did not materialize. However, in that public input process, we did identify there is a sidewalk bike path that comes into an intersection at a basically delivering the pedestrians into the middle of the intersection. We're going to, part of this project, make some improvements to that sidewalk, so that way we direct the pedestrians to go outside of the intersection to the, to be able to cross the street there, to make that a lot safer for the traveling public. So there have been a couple things added to this. And then also, if you recall, the pedestrian ramps that we had talked about in the past, one of the things that we were going to do is if there's any, if we're in the neighborhood of some of these patches where there is ramps that we know to be not complying with ADA standards, we're looking to add some of those ramps in an ongoing process to update our ADA ramps to get those into compliance. So this is basically the same request for the previous project that we've done in our ongoing process of updating our streets. So with that, I would entertain any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. Questions, Commissioner? I have one question. Total estimated cost is $750,000. Budgeted in our CIP for 22 was $500,000. What's the budget in 2023 in our CIP? Why? I don't know why you're referencing 2022.
The only reason I had referenced the 2022 CIP is because in that CIP, it actually called out here are projects that we're planning out over the next 5 years. And in the adopted 2022 CIP that was adopted last June, it identified a project in 2023 that had a budget of the $500,000.
I see. All right. Very good.
And I would actually look with the amount of ped ramps that we have that are not in compliance and with inflation and things of that. The $500,000 has been kind of a placeholder for this project over the last few years. With the inflation that we've seen, I would actually ask, and to add to that, the amount of ped ramps that we have to fix around the city, I would actually like to increase that budgeted amount on the CIP for each year. I would like to go to $1 million with that and add in a number of ped ramps throughout the city. We've got literally thousands of ped ramps that we need to redo. And I don't want to get down that rabbit hole tonight, but with knowing that we have those improvements that we need to make, just for planning purposes, I'd like to increase that budgeted amount on the CIP as we move forward.
All right. Additional questions for Mr. Hanson?
I'll make the motion to create project 2722.
Thank you, Commissioner Olson. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Anderson seconds. The motion is to a concrete pavement repair project to create project number 2272, to approve the engineer's report and direct the engineer to prepare plans and specifications. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hanson.
Thank you.
Item number 7, we'll call on Assistant City Administrator Dustin Scott for a administrator's report. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Commissioners. As Commission President Dardis mentioned, Administrator Fisk had to step out early, so I'm just up here to pinch hit for her. And the only item to discuss is the closure on February 20th and when you would like to possibly reschedule that meeting.
The question at hand is that February 20th, President's Day is a holiday. We're scheduled for a city commission meeting that day, and so we're going to take a commission poll as to what your preference might be.
21st? The next day?
I would say the 21st.
Commissioner Simmons,
Fine with that.
you have a consensus.
Very good. No other topics for me.
Okay.
Questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott. Are there any non-agenda items that any of the commissioners would like to bring forward? Are there any non-agenda items that any of the department heads would like to bring forward? With that, Commissioner Simmons.
Move to adjourn.
Commissioner Olson,
Second.
we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.